you made mention of the fact that you would like to take back what you learned to your home country, South Africa. And that really struck me because that is really very important for the project that we are covering, the African diaspora. That at the end of the day, we need to look for a way to give back to where we are coming from, to our home country, to Africa. Because Africa is suffering for what is known as brain drain, and what we are trying to propose or what we are trying to work on is how we can transform that brain drain into brain gain. In that what we have learned overseas, wherever we are in the world, we have certainly learned a lot of things. We have improved our skills. Some of these skills can be reinvested into our different economy. Of course, money is always good. If we invest money, it is a good thing. But money cannot be compared to knowledge. In that, if we have good knowledge and skill that we can really invest into our society, that can be transformed into a huge amount of money. So my question now is that, of course, I know you have not got it there yet. Of course, something that you are planning to do. Tell us about the plan. Well, how do you intend to do that? How do you intend to take back what you are gathering down as a pool of knowledge and invest it in South Africa? How do you intend to do that?
That comes with two things. Okay, and first I will have to explain what I've learned in Sweden. Sweden has a very interesting setup for adult education. It's what they loosely translate it to. The actual word is folkbildning, which is the education of the people. I think it would be a better translation. This system or the structure grew out of the Industrial Revolution in Sweden in the mid-19th century, when you had many people moving from the rural areas into the cities to work, and the huge social changes that came with that, to the point where you had workers who needed to understand and know things to be able to influence their situation, their living situation. And the movement that grew out of that was the workers' movement in Sweden. And one of the very big things the workers' movement implemented was what they called study circles, which is essentially a group of people who get together and learn themselves something that they want to know. So they use each other's knowledge, and then obviously they also bring in knowledge from outside through books. And this tradition has grown and expanded in Sweden to the point where it's now government funded. And my day job is working in one of the organizations that helps Swedish associations to report their work to the government so that they can get that funding. And my organization focuses on Muslim associations. So I've actually been working very closely with a lot of Muslims in terms of what they want to teach, what they want to learn, what interests them. And so it's very interesting to see that in comparison to what other groups within the Swedish population want to focus on and want to learn. So this general concept is something I think definitely should be expanded on across the world, but I really see that it could work very well in Africa. In South Africa, you have lots of issues with schools trying to cater to adults who don't have a basic education, but they struggle because it's really hard for the school system to also teach adults, in night classes, for example. But if there was, say, a community center in the village, and the adults could then come of an evening and learn what they want to learn, and they bring their children, and the children get to do what they want to do. There we have then a huge potential for the community to help everyone grow together and to expand and develop their own understanding of the world in a very communal kind of way, which is also resonates very strongly with the African way of life. And there, I would love to just show up and do some coaching in the community center. And whoever is interested can just join in. That would be the ideal situation for me.
That's going to be a big party.
That's the best part. I think it's something that the Western society has really lost sight of, is the intergenerational sharing of knowledge. Because I've had the great fortune that I was able to spend some time with my German grandmother. And I learned so much from her. And then with my husband, I've had the great fortune of meeting his grandmother and learning from her. And so that is something that we've lost, but that a lot of Africans still have, because you still live together with your grandparents, or at least close to them. The family structure is different from here.
Yeah, that's true.
Just give me a moment. I
Please,
need to
please.
plug in my computer. It's about to.
Okay, you ready?
There we go.
All right.
Yes, I'm
Now,
good.
you do all this work and because you are strongly are convinced of it, and this is evidence also in the way that you explain it. I can almost see through them. Now, what I want to ask you is, what is your most satisfying moment in this your business of self-improvement, helping people, and also projecting what you intend to do for them in the future, and like bringing back knowledge to South Africa? These are a strong project that I see to be strong inside of you. So, what is your satisfaction in doing all this?
It's seeing the smile on people's faces, or to hear it in their voices when they tell me about what's just happened. An example: my sister. She has just finished high school and was considering going to university, but whenever I spoke to her about it, you could hear that she wasn't really in it. That, the idea of university was just there because that's what you do, that's what's expected of you. And then about 6 months ago, we were talking, and she said, "You know what? I know, I've now decided what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a firefighter." And she'd been to the local fire department, and she knew exactly what she needed to do, and she was starting her training, and she joined as a volunteer. And you just hear the person light up. And she hasn't quite passed she failed the test a few weeks ago, but she had improved so much, and they told her, "No, next time, if you keep on with the training regime, you'll be fine for the next time," because it was just, she was not physically capable of doing an exercise that's required. But just to see how much energy she's put into this in the past 6 months, I cannot wait to see her actually achieve this, because it's a really big deal. And this is something that she mentioned that was something she thought about doing as a child, but then dismissed, and has now come back to. Another really beautiful one is my cousin, who I mentioned earlier. She's a lawyer, and she loves her work, but she also was very, very creative in her youth, and she wrote a play in high school, which I remember going to. So it's kind of like, that's my memory of her. And so she mentioned that she really wanted to go into directing movies, and then that kind of fell by the wayside. So now this is something she started working towards, and it's been really, really empowering to watch her on this trajectory and on this journey.
And it's powerful. It sort of connect to what we were saying before, no? That the service we render to order are really very powerful in our life. It gives meaning. It gives meaning to our life even. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, if we think about that image I used before of transforming myself as like the stone in the water, and it's creating all these ripples. But the point is that then it ripples, but the next person that you've had your effect on becomes their own stone, and their ripples can come back to you and encourage you and inspire you to grow even more. So it is very much like the more we surround ourselves with the kind of people that we want to be, and the more we actually affect them to also want to be the best that they can be, then we create a whirlpool of just awesome power, of incredible success. It's just amazing to watch.